We're the Sweet and Tender Hooligans. This is our tribute to Morrissey and the Sweets.
Your fame is spread, like for example, I understand that you're very big in Mexico.
Yes.
Why Mexico, do you think?
I don't know. But it's a beautiful thing. I don't know why. I think it's the passion in the music. And
have you performed there a lot?
People, yes. They're very passionate people and they like to hear about reality. And here I am.
Always been outspoken?
No, I'm not outspoken at all. I'm really not.
You're strongly opinionated.
Well, I'm just an ordinary person in many ways. I just speak the words of ordinary people.
Mexico, I went for a walk to inhale the tranquil, cool lover's air, but I could taste a trace of American chemical waste, and this small voice said, what can you do?
Something came from Baltimore.
Welcome to Something Came from Baltimore. I am your host, Tom Gouker. Something Came from Baltimore is a jazz, blues, and R&B podcast and radio show, and it's not really about Baltimore. In fact, this week we are traveling to the shorelines of Los Angeles, where we chat with lifeguard, the legendary Mexican Morrissey, Jose Maldonado, of the Sweet and Tender Hooligans. It's a tribute band of Morrissey and the Smiths, and it's last for over 30 years. The Mexican-American community is in love with Morrissey. They've been for a while, and I could not be any happier. The reason for this phenomena is not fully defined. Morrissey is a lyrical genius, and his productivity has never declined. For example, let's listen to a sample from his latest album from 2020, I Am Not a Dog on a Chain. The song is called Knockabout World. So before we get into the interview, I just want to do a disclaimer that we are pro Morrissey in this interview. There's no drama going on. During research for the interview, there was a series of questions that I found on Yahoo, and I guess people are asking, are they allowed to like the Smiths? And the answer was, you can like the Smiths, but you cannot like Morrissey because he is a racist. And I am saying, okay, people, I don't care about this. I have an emotional intelligence to enjoy the music and marvel at Morrissey's extreme talent. Through the years, we've had personality issues with Elton John, Woody Allen, Eric Clapton, Michael Jackson, Van Morrison, Macy Gray, and I could go on, and I still like their work. You're going to hear some birds and wind, and the reason for that is Jose is a lifeguard in LA, and he's at work doing the interview. The Sweet and Tender Hooligans perform in both English and Spanish, and in this interview, we're going to focus on more of the English recordings. Now let's get into the interview. Jose Maldonado, welcome to Something Came from Baltimore.
I started going through your material on Spotify and on YouTube, and you guys are fantastic, just fantastic.
Well, thanks so much.
You've been doing this since 1992.
30 years this October.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You look like him, you sing like him, you move like him. It's amazing. Like, I don't know how you do it.
Thank you.
Have you found, like, through the time period that the fans are even more rabid than before with the Smiths and for Morrissey?
I'll tell you what's amazing is that these kids today, they've never had more access to music than ever before. You know what I mean? Like, you and I are probably of the same vintage, and we had to basically find stuff for ourselves, and whatever the radio was pumping at us, or whatever our friend who lived down the street said, hey, I've got this new record you ought to listen to. That's what we were discovering. These kids today, they have access to everything, in the Spotify era. So I'll tell you what's amazing to me is that they're gravitating towards it without any outside influence like radio. It's kind of standing on its own. They're discovering these bands on their own, on the merits of like how great and timeless and how relatable the music is to them even today. I think that's what's fascinating.
You sing in Spanish and also English for these songs. Mm-hmm. What is the Spanish connection? Because I think that is interesting too.
The Smiths lyrics and Morrissey's lyrics are really on a whole other level of emotional, and he has such a command of language, not unlike some of these Spanish language songs that are so fatalistic and so ultra romantic. It sort of speaks to a certain kind of person that is drawn to that sort of fatalistic, unrequited love, passion stuff.
I just saw a YouTube video of him doing a residency in Vegas, and
I was there.
Oh, great! Well, he looked great. He sung great. His conceptually, what was going on was great, and the crowd was crazy. Like fanatical in a sense that was almost like Beatlemania-ish.
Because he's when you're seeing Morrissey live, I sometimes wonder, is it the experience of hearing him sing his songs, or is it the experience of just being in the same room with him? Yes. And breathing the same air as him. And you kind of can see that, especially you'll see those people who make it onto the stage to be able to hug him, and you kind of see that look on their face, like, at last, now I can tell you, now I can let you know that you made me experience something, and I want to thank you for that. You see that gratitude in their faces and in the way that they embrace him when they finally do make it up on stage. It's a breathtaking thing to watch. I love it.
Poor guy looks scared out of his mind. Let's listen to a sample of the 2021 single that was released. It's a cover of the Jam classic, That's Entertainment.
Siren, pneumatic drill on a ripped up concrete, baby wails, a stray dog howling, brakes screech as a lamplight blinking. That's entertainment, that's entertainment. Smash of glass and a rumble of boots, electric train and a ripped up phone booth. A hot day and a sticky black tarmac. A hot day and I'm wishing I was far away. That's entertainment. That's entertainment.
The sadness that we were talking about in his music, the word, I may pronounce it wrong, it's a Portuguese type of music called fado. And it's a form of music characterized by mournful tunes and lyrics, often about the sea and the life of the poor, and infused with a sentimentality of resignation. fate and melancholy. And boy, does that fit. Other than the C part, it fits a lot of his lyrics.
Yeah, that really does. Wow.
Yeah. The one thing that I did when I went on YouTube is I went in, and the first thing they said is am I still allowed to like the Smiths? And it was one of those questions. The answer was no. You can't like Morrissey, but you can like the Smiths, though, and you're not a racist that way. Morrissey has been very topical as long as I can remember.
He's not somebody who's ever going to take anything back.
Yeah.
You know, and that's nothing new. I mean, he's been doing that since 1984. You gravitate towards the music. You're gravitating towards lyrics. You're gravitating towards the experience and not necessarily the person's politics.
Yeah.
You know,
he's just a cranky old uncle that hangs out at picnics and you love to talk to him. You know, that's all. Like, why would you say no to talking to him? He's cool.
Right.
We're going to put links on your site so people can take a look at you. You guys ever feel like you're available for international touring, or you guys stay put on the West Coast?
The five of us all have day jobs. The five of us all have lives and families. But we do make our way out to the UK. We do make our way out to, been to Mexico a couple of times. We've recently representation for Spanish language countries. So we're hoping very soon we'll be able to do a proper tour of Mexico and South America with our Spanish language songs.
Let's just do a top 5. What are the top 5 songs that you have to play in every show?
Oh, goodness. Because there are those songs that mean so much to us emotionally because of the lyrics. And then there are those songs that we love to play because they're just great live songs, you know. I love the way we do November Spawned a Monster. I love the way we do that one.
Because it's the closest you will get to oh, a twisted child, so ugly, oh, a twisted child, oh, hug me.
Speedway has a very, very special meaning to me, lyrically, emotionally.
All of the rumors keeping me grounded. I never said that they were completely unfounded. So when you
There is a light that never goes out, even though it's one of the most obvious ones. How could you ever get tired of a beautiful song like that? And the emotion behind that moment in the darkened underpass when you had the chance to tell that person and, you know, you just couldn't do it. Who doesn't still love every second of that moment of There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, you know?
because I want to see people and I want to see lines. You're riding in your car. Oh, police don't rob me on, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side, such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, the pleasure, the privilege is mine.
Every day is like Sunday is a beautiful fan sing along. I just love it when you hear the entire audience in unison singing that chorus so loudly and beautifully. And Big Mouth Strikes Again is one of those rock and roll tunes that just, drive at the heart of every 15-year-old boy in you that feels like you've got all the energy in the world to just rock and roll. So I guess real quickly, those 5 random rapid fire would be my answer, I guess.
Do you have a favorite album between the Smiths and Morrissey?
Favorite album? See, that's better than asking for a favorite song because they're all my favorite. Oh God, it's hard to it's hard to really wow. I mean, the obvious one for the Smiths is The Queen is Dead. That's the obvious one. It's certainly the album that made me a fan. But it's just so perfectly arranged from beginning to end, and song after song. The song that follows makes perfect sense, and there's just such a proper sequence to it. So I suppose with the Smiths, The Queen is Dead being the obvious one, and I think most people would say that's kind of the universal favorite. And for Morrissey solo, I guess it would be Vauxhall and I. For the same, I'd say for the same reasons. The songs were the songs each sort of come after each other in the right order. Morrissey was going through a pretty tough time in his life. Some very beautiful moments in that album, and. At the time, he'd finally he and his two co-writers at the time, Boz Borer and Alan White, were both contributing songs for his catalog, and I think he kind of got the best out of them in those in that moment in particular. So yeah, Vauxhall and I would say for Morrissey solo.
You still work as a lifeguard in LA. I can hear some birds in the background.
Yeah. I made a career out of it, and been doing it since even before I was a hooligan. So yeah, about, God, what am I, 33 years into the job now?
Jose Maldonado.
From the Sweet and Tender Hooligans, I thank you very much for joining me today on Something Came from Baltimore.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Thomas.
I hope you're enjoying the Mexican Morrissey episode of Something Came from Baltimore. Something Came from Baltimore needs your support. Subscribe to the show and then listen to that show. And if you're not really into that artist this week, play the show anyways with a volume down. In fact, sort through all your unplayed episodes and make sure you run through them. Then subscribe to another site like Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, and we're basically everywhere, and either play the show again or put the volume down and play the show. We are not connected to major platforms, and our ability to create advertisement revenue is limited, so we really could use your support. I hope you enjoyed the show today. The episode is over. Let's listen to one more track.
He was the sweet and tender hooligan. He said that you'll never do it again, and of course he won't. Not until the next time. He was the sweet and tender hooligan. He swore that he'll never do it again, and of course he won't. Not until the next time. Poor old man. He had an accident with a 3x5, but that's okay.
Something came from Baltimore.